Who was the man behind the destabilization maneuver in Burkina Faso? A sum of 5 billion CFA francs, that's around 8 million US dollars, all in cash recovered. Now listen to this.
Amazing news from Burkina Faso. The Burkina Faso army currently just won more than 5 billion CFA. I don't even know how much is that in euros, but you guys tell me. So how do they won this money? It is an amazing way. Please share this video, guys. Let's give this video a 1 million views and likes. So currently there is someone out there, an individual just approached the army of Burkina Faso somewhere in the country and tells them that he is going to give them 5 billion CFA in cash if they are going to engage in destabilizing the country, which means that he is going to pay them that money in cash, 5 billion CFA, so they can go and attack somewhere, to seems like, okay, it is a terrorist attack, or they just want to do a coup d'etat. So these soldiers, they reported this thing to their superiors, and it happens on the 8th of November, not long ago, because I believe like today is I don't even know the date today, but anyway, it happens like on the 8th of November. So these army members, they went to report that one to their superiors. Now, their superiors were also intelligent. They tell these army members that, let us play the game. So what they do is that they just play along the game. Now, the soldiers met with these individuals who gave them these cars. He wants these soldiers to destabilize the country. So they talk about everything, their plans, what he wants the soldiers to do, like where did he want the soldiers to go and attack. So once the soldiers have this money in cash, more than 5 bags of money, 5 billion CFA, the soldiers bring this money to their headquarters. Yes, but here, the most important thing is that the reason why the soldiers also do this thing to report this into their superiors, you will know that they have a great leadership. So a great leader, will always tell the soldiers that, look, this is what we want, this 5 billion cash that you have, or this small amount of money that someone is going to give it to you, it might benefit you and your family, but it will not benefit all of our population, which means the millions. So being a patriot in your country, patriotic, it's something that we should all have, but we cannot have that one also as Africans if we do not have a great leadership. For example, let us go to the countries today, like let's say whether it is in Kenya, or whether it is in the Gambia, or whether it is like in any other country in Africa, where we have people suffering, their leaders are not doing anything. If those soldiers have this type of money, they are going to use it to destabilize the country. Why? Because the leaders there are corrupt. The leaders there are not listening to their people. The leaders there, are only taking money for themselves. So in the case of Burkina Faso, because they have a great leadership, captain is great, everyone is trying to work together to make sure that, they have a common ground, which means one Burkina Faso, one Africa, to do something that is going to develop the nation. So now, the army of Burkina Faso, now they have won a jackpot more than 5 billion CFA. At the end of the day, they will also arrest this individual who want to corrupt the soldiers. They will also know who are behind this. Guys, this is amazing. But remember, as I said, this can only happen if you have a great leadership. So this is why, let us be patriotic as Africans. Let us support each other. The leaders that are not good, even though they are your father, your mother, your dad, your uncles in power, let us all call for their removals, because at the end of the day, those leaders, they only put themselves and their masters, not the African people. That is why this story is just amazing. But let me know, what do you guys think?
New revelations on a destabilization maneuver in Burkina Faso. A sum of 5 billion CFA francs recovered in cash. So here's what happened. It was Friday, November 8th, 2024. In Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso's bustling capital, a high-stakes exchange was going down. An individual, let's call him the conspirator for now, was arrested after being caught red-handed, handing over a whopping 5 billion CFA francs in cash. And who was on the receiving end? Soldiers who were supposedly on board with his plan. Only they were actually playing him, pretending to go along with his coup plot to bring down the government. But just how much money is 5 billion CFA francs, you might ask? Well, that's around $8 million US dollars, all in cash. It's an unbelievable amount for an operation like this, and clearly shows the serious financial backing behind this plan. Let's go over the details that have emerged. This conspirator was allegedly orchestrating a full-blown destabilization maneuver in Burkina Faso. His plan? To pay off soldiers to initiate a military coup and overthrow the current government. What's surprising is how close he got. The soldiers pretended to agree to his plan, but in reality, they had already coordinated with Burkina Faso's intelligence services. It was a classic setup, a sting operation, that exposed this plot before it could launch. In recent years, Burkina Faso has dealt with escalating conflicts, especially with jihadist insurgencies spilling over from neighboring Mali and Niger. Now, why would someone want to destabilize Burkina Faso? To answer that, we have to look at the broader picture. Burkina Faso is strategically positioned in the Sahel region, a vast area stretching across North Africa and West Africa that's become a hotspot for militant activities and violent insurgencies. Burkina Faso's government, despite its struggles, has been trying to counter these threats while keeping the country from descending into chaos. A destabilization here could have ripple effects across the entire region. Now, let's talk money. 5 billion CFA francs doesn't just appear out of nowhere. Who funded this? And what are the motivations behind investing such a massive sum in a coup? Political analysts suggest that these funds may not have come solely from domestic actors. There's speculation that foreign entities or underground networks could be involved, supporting the conspirators' destabilization efforts. Why? Because Burkina Faso's stability, or instability, affects multiple stakeholders. Other African nations, Western powers, and regional organizations like the African Union and ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States, are all invested in a stable Burkina Faso. To give you some context, let's zoom out and look at the recent surge in coups across the African continent. In just the past few years, we've seen a wave of coups in places like Mali, Guinea, and Niger. The reasons behind these coups vary, but they often stem from internal grievances, weak governance, economic instability, or resentment toward foreign influence. But Burkina Faso is unique. Its history has been a mix of popular uprisings and coups, with its people rising up when they've felt pushed too far. This potential coup plot, however, wasn't an organic grassroots movement. It was a heavily funded scheme. So, how exactly did the Burkinabe government foil this plot? Well, it all came down to intelligence work and timing. By the time the conspirator was handing over the cash to the soldiers, the authorities were already in position to make the arrest. This level of planning and coordination suggests that Burkina Faso's intelligence agencies have been working hard behind the scenes to protect their government from internal threats. After the arrest, government sources stated that they seized all 5 billion CFA francs. This recovery not only prevents the funds from being used for further conspiracies, but also sends a strong message that such plots won't be tolerated. Now, the big question is, what happens next? This foiled coup is a victory for Burkina Faso, no doubt. But it doesn't mean the country is completely out of danger. In fact, with a plot this big, there's always the possibility of other players or other attempts to destabilize the government. The government will need to remain vigilant. Burkina Faso's allies, from regional partners to international organizations, may consider strengthening their support to ensure the government can maintain stability. This story is still developing, so we'll keep an eye out for any updates, particularly on the identity of the conspirator, the source of his funding, and what this could mean for Burkina Faso's future. That's it for today's deep dive into Burkina Faso's foiled coup attempt. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to stay updated on geopolitical issues like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on future videos. Let me know in the comments what you think about the situation in Burkina Faso. Do you think the country will be able to hold off further destabilization attempts? Or is this just the beginning of more challenges to come? Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.